Hey guys, I'm John and I'm here with Dave Jones. He has been a husband for the last 17 years and father of 2 sons. He's also the CEO of M is Good and is the co-founder of R7, which is a process that he takes organizational leaders and entrepreneurs through to help them grow their business and grow their reach, increase their reach. And we're here today to talk about the Apply Rigor Matrix. And we use this to kind of set the path as a guide to find that life of fulfillment, to find that legacy in an organization, in a business, in whatever endeavor that these entrepreneurs and organizational leaders are pursuing. So he's going to share with us what this is and take us through it.
All right, man, I'm fired up to be on the side of a hill at Wise Man's Trail.
View.
Close,
every time.
In Boone, North Carolina, or close to it. So Here we go. The Apply Rigor Matrix has a y-axis and an x-axis. The y-axis is a scale 1 through 10 with emotional equity. I'll come back to that in a second. And then our x-axis has time based upon 1 hour to 20 years. All right, so, and then up top we've got purpose, vision, strategy, believe, carry, build, legacy, and confidence. At the end of the day, we want to leave a legacy. We want to feel fulfilled in our lives, right? And we want to feel like there's a guide or some inspiration to kind of help us there. And so that's what birthed the Apply Rigor Matrix. All right, so on our y-axis we have emotional equity. Now, emotional equity means I am in mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. MEPS, right? So MEPS. So what does in mean, right? Like it means that I'm involved. I'm invested. So if I'm invested emotionally, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, then I'm a high on 10. If I'm not, then I'm a 1.
Yeah, you're disengaged.
You're disengaged. You're just there, right?
Yeah.
In fact, Gallup says that 66% of the U.S. economy is disengaged because we don't have any emotional equity. We're not engaged. All right, and then on our x-axis is based on time. So here we go. Many times in the last 15, 16 years, I work with, different people and friends that have an idea. This is an idea. An idea spikes. Sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes it looks like this, right? But it spikes. And so this is really, the difference between an idea and a vision is a spark. Like you think of an idea as a spark. It's a moment. I have an idea. An idea is not going to carry you through strategy, believe, carry, build, confidence, legacy. It's not going to help you with emotions and repetition, an idea. There's got to be a path. All right? So what happens is these ideas, they come. Sometimes an hour, a day, 10 days, sometimes they last longer, whatever it may be. All right? Sometimes they go up to here, right? And they spike. What happens, though, is through this idea process, we have what John knows it.
Death line.
The death line.
Yes, I do.
Right? And they happen periodically. And when they happen there is no science behind it. It happens when you're depleted.
Depleted.
Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You're depleted. Could be depleted with resources too. Right? And so what happens is, if we look at the Apply Rigor Matrix, which is what I'm going to draw now, we start off, right? Go here. Right? It's a wave. There's ups and there's downs. You're high and you're low. There's a peak, there's a valley. Peak, valley, peak, valley. And we could keep on going out. But the interesting thing about the Apply Rigor Matrix is that it grows. It grows with time and on your emotional equity. It's a beautiful thing. So the more time you're investing in, the better it is, right? But then what happens in these death lines is we hit in the valley usually, right here. Right? We hit. See if I can make that look a little bit better. Right? And so in here is where we're depleted. We give up, we quit. Repetition isn't enough. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book. It says that 10,000 hours, it's called Outliers, 10,000 hours makes you an expert, whereas 8,000 hours makes you a teacher. So you're 2,000 reps away, or 2,000 repetition, or 10,000 repetition, or hours away from being an expert. So that's what happens here. You've experienced this, right? You have an idea.
Yeah.
Why isn't it working for me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you hit all sorts of obstacles. Usually, in my life, it's been emotional. I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Fear, anxiety,
stress.
Yeah, doubt, self-doubt.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know if I can do this. I started this. Can I see this through? So just walk away. Fear of failure is huge.
Behavior is huge. Like, the behavior is the end of the extension of what's happening, where the emotions are a really big deal. You know, emotions are 7 times more powerful than rational thought. So when you're depleted with your MEPS, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? And
you feel like a failure.
You feel like a failure. You quit.
It disappears.
It's over. It didn't work for me. No, it didn't. It's not that it didn't work for you. It's that you didn't have a process that you can engage in and realize I'm in a valley or I'm in a peak, and I just have to work through it, right? I have strong ambitions of being a doctor, right? Well, I can't just decide I'm going to be a doctor and that's it. Well, I had to go to school.
Yeah.
Right? I have to go get trained. I have to have a residency. You know, and a lot of times we're in a system that we've been there for years, and maybe we transfer out of that system. Like, you know, somebody who stops a career, right? Now they have to deal with another career, or what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so these death lines are huge to understand where you're at.
Okay, so we've got the death line. We're talking about what happens in the death line, and we see the Apply Rigor Matrix. There's a bottom out, but then it starts to go up. So how about right here? What happens, actually really right here, what happens to get us to come back up?
Something happens. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Something happens. You get confidence. Maybe it's you put in more reps and you go, wow, I can really do this. It is starting to work, right? You know, so if we back that up a little bit, this idea needs to be converted into a vision building long-term plan versus I'm just going to do it today and see how it goes. Well, guess what? You're going to fail. The other thing we like to talk about when I coach is that we have an expectation line and we have an ability line. Right? So I expect that I should be, whatever it may be, I'm going to make something up, a millionaire by I'm 30 years old. Well, what is it that you're doing to have that expectation? Do you have a jamming business? Are you a jamming athlete? Right? Have you put enough repetition? So a lot of times the expectation doesn't meet the ability, so we have this gray area. The NHL, the NBA, any professional sports, when they draft a player, it's based upon expectation. That's it. There's no way they could predict at 25 that this person will be the leading scorer of the league. They're 18. So they're saying this guy's an expectation because now they believe that this guy is workable, he's trainable, he's coachable, that we can build him up, we can get his ability to a point where he can deliver on that expectation that we have of him. So,
you and I have talked about, like, when you get here, one of the main things that we've got to face is kind of back with the emotions, is belief. Talk about that a little bit. How does belief play into this? So we have expectations, ability. How do we manage those emotions that come in? Like fear, it's going to hit us. We're going to feel it. What do we do about it?
We're going to shoot another video on emotional intelligence, and it's going to talk about, you know, what it is that I need to do emotionally. But I will tell you, to answer your question, the short answer to that is belief is based upon a perception of your ability to perform. So we either got to lower your perception or increase your ability.
Okay.
The easiest thing to do is to lower your expectation. We can do that now. The hardest thing to do is to increase your ability. Why? Because now you have to go back and you have to go research, you have to do time, you have to do repetition, you know, it's much harder.
Yeah.
All right? One of the things that I say as a CrossFit, I love the CrossFit, right? And I had a goal years ago to go to the CrossFit Games, and I knew it wasn't a month process, right? I knew it was going to take some time for me to get there. I figured out to myself that I hate working out, right? I don't like to work out, but I love to train. I love to train because I know the Apply Rigor Matrix, and I know the peaks and the valleys, and I know what I need to do to put in the repetition to get better and relax with myself, and I'm not going to get there tomorrow, right? And so now we go across everything. We can talk about what is it with your job. Do you have a job, or do you have a career, right? Do you love your sport, or are you a pro athlete? So if I love my sport, then you love your sport. But if you're a pro athlete, then you know you're going to go through these valleys and you're going to be on these peaks. So
having that vision, having a long-term vision, a big that plan, that goal, helps us to get through these, right? It creates some hope.
It creates tremendous amount of hope, and hope, you know, definition of hope, my definition of hope is the belief that change is possible, right? And so that hope, man, is awesome. You know that there's a process that I have to engage in. I have to relax. I have to put in the time, the repetition, in order for me to get there.
But you will get there.
You will get there, man.
That's the point.
Yeah. So, this Apply Rigor Matrix, I think everybody wants to lead a fulfilled, productive life. Nobody really wants to be paid for a task. They want to know that what they're doing is encouraging a better world. So the Apply Rigor Matrix is a guide to help you get there to live a fulfilled, productive life.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. See y'all.